Our selection today is 12 gates to the city.
Have you heard of the city? The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua HaMashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him, and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame, and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Now we have, in the past few Sabbaths, we've gone over some things concerning the priesthood, even the importance of the song. Of course, what we find today is people just stop there at the song and forget the rest of the instruction that Yahweh has given us. But even as we go into just a little bit of the things of the priesthood, you find that the priesthood is very vast and very detailed. There are a lot of different areas of the priesthood. It's not just a situation of there is, one duty set for the priest, and any of those priests can perform any of those duties. So I think that has obviously somehow gotten lost within how our people have been separated from that holy land and the things that were set forth in it, that we kind of forget that there are levels to these things, but we have to get that back in our head, because as we get ready to return back unto the land that Yahweh has given unto us, those things are going to be given back to us in levels. There won't be just one set of individuals that can go and do everything. We have situations that are set up now that are even a grace given unto us. There are certain situations where the women have ability to do things that when we get set up in that land, those things will not be so. even some things where some brothers are allowed to let their wives perform certain things. When that temple is set back up in the Holy Land, the brothers are going to have to take charge of those things, which it is a grace to us, given that even allows that to this day. And I don't think people see that is a grace for not just a situation of women, but also for the men who are the head of those households. Because if we had to do every bit of the service here and every bit of the cooking, you can see how overloaded the men would be right now. So we don't even see that there's a grace that Yahweh has given us, but you don't just rest in the grace and think that the grace is going to last forever. You have to start preparing yourselves. That's why when we have situations of the new moon, it's the brother's opportunity to prepare the meal. And just in that, sometimes we get, like, man, we just snuck up on us, Imagine if that was ours every week. So we have to enjoy the grace that Yahweh has given us, but at the same time, we have to prepare for the day that he moves on another level. And we are those complacent people that once something is given to us, it is set. We then want that thing to be set for the next 1,000 years. It ain't going to be so. Yahweh is going to cause us to continually grow and do some things. Yahweh is going to cause us to grow and continually do some things that we don't just get to sit on one level and say, okay, this is where I am and this is where I'm going to be. 5 years from now, he's going to cause you to grow on another level. 1 year from then, he's going to cause you to grow on another level. And if we just sit right there and don't do anything about that, we're going to end up facing some serious issues as he keeps gradually moving us toward where we're supposed to be. Let's begin today's sermon in Revelation chapter 6. And today's sermon is entitled, The Sealing and the Gates of the City. The Sealing and the Gates of the City. Now, we went over some things in a new moon that end up causing a few questions. There's some things here that we're going to have to kind of give a little introduction before we go right back into those things. And it was what we read in Revelation 7 that ended up causing some questions. But we have to understand that there's a foundation here that if you don't really go into the foundation, then there's certain things that end up getting misconstrued toward the later end of the book that we don't quite understand. I mean, when we read what's written in the law, we read about Passover and unleavened bread, right? When we get to the things of the New Testament during the time of the Messiah, he's on the scene. It says they said unleavened bread, which is called the Passover. They had merged those things together. Now, if we just read the part in the New Testament without dealing with the foundation that was there in the Old, we come across with a different thing. So when we see those errors, we then fix those errors. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because the book says if you add unto this word or take away unto this word, then you're going to receive the plagues that are written in this book. So what happens is when people don't know the difference between correcting and adding and subtraction, then now they're ready to pronounce curses upon you because you understand the foundation. The foundation was Passover, unleavened bread, and within that we have the first day, we have the first fruits, which of course the Mashiach was raised upon. But that's not what happens when we get into the New Testament around the time of the Messiah. We find two different things. We find that Messiah has kept Passover. We find that the other people were waiting to keep Passover. And people said, well, what's going on there? Why is there a discrepancy? Yahshua is going to keep Yahweh's law, regardless as to what the people have gotten into. But if you just go straight to the New Testament part and you don't understand that foundation, when the person fixes that, then it seems like that person is a heckler because the foundation is not understood. So let's start here in Revelation chapter 6 and let's see what we come up with.
And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were the noise of thunder, one of the four beasts saying, Come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he went forth conquering and to conquer. And when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, Come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth, and that they should kill one another. And there was given unto him a great sword.
So what we're looking at is different parts of time in history as these things are being poured out upon the earth. So you have a situation where certain things are supposed to lead us unto repentance. But you know the manner of human flesh. And as long as we got breath in our lungs, we'll keep going. Sometimes we have to be abruptly stopped from something in a very, very fantastical manner for us to then back up. As long as we can still walk, it worked out. Even if we limping out the place, well, I ain't dead. So now we think that Yahweh approves of us because we ain't dead yet. And what he's trying to do is to keep from killing you. So first, he slap us on the ankle. That don't work. He slap us on the calf. That don't work. He slap us on the thigh. That don't work. Now, each time, he is not trying to kill you. He is trying to lead you toward repentance. But if we take every last one of those things and think, okay, Yahweh has allowed these things to happen to me and I'm still living, he has agreed with everything that I'm doing, you're going to have a hard time. See, now we're taking the grace of Yahweh and using it as a seal of approval. Go ahead.
Revelations chapter 6 and verse 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see, you hurt not the oil and the wine. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, Come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth.
So when the nations are moving and trying to conquer and doing all of the things that they are doing to prosper their reign, they have no idea that they are fulfilling these things that are written in prophecy. They're just going to do what they want to do. They're just going to have what they want to have. But it's falling in the line of prophecy while they're doing it. Go ahead.
And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of Elohim, and for the testimony which they held. And they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Adonai, holy and true, dost you not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?
Right. And what we want is immediate vindication. And that's not how vindication works. There are some things that have been done wrong 2,000 years ago that ain't going to be made right until Yahshua return. And some even longer than that. Go ahead.
And white robes were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them that they should rest yet for a little season, until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood.
This is the one we're waiting on. This is the one that we're waiting on when this seal is open. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake. And the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. Then it's going to get interesting. See, this is why I keep telling people, your song and dance ain't going to work for you when this comes. You better have more than a song. If all you got is a song, when this sixth seal is open and there's a great earthquake and the sun became black as a sackcloth of hair and the moon became as blood, you're in trouble. You're going to have more than that. Because it's going to go down at that point. So all you supposed to be working on, you need to be working on now. But we got excuses and reasons for everything. But ain't no excuses gonna work when that moon become blood red. Because this is when panic starts setting in. Look at what's happening now with the corona thing. Let me tell you something. If this keep going, watch, and they've already started. Violence gonna start against Asians. Let me tell you something. People real funny. What they threw? Didn't they throw the Asians in concentration camp during the war? Tell me what they did to anybody. Not one thing. Fear. They say, hey, the same thing we read in this book. They might join against our enemy in the war. Hey, now war came nowhere near the United States. So what the hell they locking people up for? They in somebody else's land fighting. Didn't no war make it here. Yet they lock the people up here. Put them in concentration camp. That's why some of y'all can have these really nice nails with all those designs on them. Because they got to pay them people for what they did to them. But you notice everybody got paid for what happened to them except us?
Mm-hmm.
That means there's got to be a bigger reason for what happened to us then. But if this keep dragging out, you're going to see what happens to people in panic situation. So if you ain't working on yourself, when this starts to happen and people start to panic, then it causes other people to panic. And what you going to do when everybody around you start panicking? Because fear make people do some really crazy things. Go ahead.
Revelations chapter 6 and verse 13. And the stars of heaven fell onto the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she's shaken of a mighty wind.
Now, even the subtitle here says the sixth seal, and it says anarchy. Because what's happened at this point, the stars of heaven falling onto the earth, understand something. The stars are bigger than the earth. This is Lucifer's angels coming now. This is them getting thrown out. So now, this is what brings forth the complete anarchy. So when you talk about some serious things going on in the earth, understand what's happening. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she's shaken of a mighty wind. Go ahead.
And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains.
Everybody hiding now. See? That's what fear causes you to do. Everybody hiding. See, they like to say, primitive man is a caveman. Everybody gonna be running looking for caves. I thought you said primitive man was a caveman. You mean tell me you got a cell phone and you ran into a cave? I thought you was modern. What you running there for? Hide us. Go ahead.
And said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb.
That's the problem. At the time that Lucifer is coming out, they think it's Yahshua. This is the sixth seal. The number of completion is 7. Go ahead.
For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand?
Right. This is what they say. Okay? Go ahead.
And after these things, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, and the wind, should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living Elohim. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our Elohim in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which were sealed. And there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel.
Right. Now this right here causes a major question here that we're going to have to deal with. Go ahead.
Of the tribe of Yehudah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000.
Now, a lot of times you used to hear people teaching that these are the number of people that are going to be saved, and that is not what this is dealing with. Go ahead.
Of the tribe of Asher were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Dan were sealed 12,000.
Now, this caused a major issue because instead of reading Manasseh right there, the brother read Dan, and we had a major statement that is made. I think what we have to learn to do is to ask questions instead of making statements, and it'll go a whole lot better for us. If it's something that we don't understand, all we have to do is ask a question. But instead of asking a question sometimes, what's interesting is, I got several replies, and several of them came in the form of questions. Then there's some that didn't come in the form of questions. And this is where we get ourselves into a level of disrespectful communication, when all we had to do was ask. Go ahead.
Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Yosef were sealed 12,000.
Now, we explained this when we read it. Of the tribe of Yosef were sealed 12,000. Yosef includes Manasseh. There's no reason to have another tribe of Manasseh if you have Yosef. There is Yosef, Ephraim, and Manasseh. When you include Yosef, Manasseh is automatically included. If this had been written and said Yaakov, they wouldn't have to mention none of them. Why? Because he was the one whose name was changed to Israel, and that includes all 12 tribes. So when it's referring to all 12 tribes, you're going to see something say in Yaakov. Why? Because he's the daddy. After I mention the daddy, I don't need to mention 12 sons. Go ahead.
Of the tribe of Benjamin were sealed 12,000.
Read the definition here of seal.
Seal from G4972.
Because that's different from the seals that were open before in what it was going to do, because that sealing was opening up and setting forth judgment. Even though you're going to find the same word, you got to understand in what context it was used. Go ahead, read that.
Sphrags Idzo from G4973. To stamp with a signet or private mark. For security or preservation, literally or figuratively, by implication, to keep secret, to attest, to set or set to, seal up, stop.
Right. So in one thing, those seals were containing the judgment of Yahweh. And this, we have these seals being the preservation going on to what's happening here. Go back at verse 9, Revelation 7 and verse 9.
After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands.
Now, consider this. After this, I beheld, and lo, a great multitude. So, the belief that all 12 tribes of Israel would not be saved, but then in the very next verse, now we got a great multitude of all nations, but all Israel wasn't saved. That would make Yahweh a liar. That would make Yahweh a liar. That now, what did Yahshua say? When the woman said, was asking for healing, he said, it's not meet for me to take the food of the saints and cast it to dogs. Because you're not of Israel. She said, yes, but the dogs do eat from the crumbs that fall from the master's table. He said, in this saying, woman, your faith has you healed. Because she accepted the order. See, what happens is people want to boast against the order, and they're going to jump out of order. You always have somebody want to jump in the lunch line. Especially when they got something real nice that day. And you look up, you're like, what? Hey, man, wasn't you? How you get back in this line, first of all? See? They want to double back around and get back in the line. What are you doing in line? Some of them ain't got sense enough to put away their first meal. They still eating the ice cream sandwich from the time before. And the lunch lady got said, hey, boy, if you ain't been in the line, how you already got an ice cream sandwich? Oh, you didn't have sense enough to put the ice cream sandwich away before you got back in line. Go ahead, brother.
No, another thing that I wanted to say from earlier is when we read verse 3, it tells you who were sealed. It says servants.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that this is not dealing with just faith and not having works.
Right.
Servants.
Those that have something that they are performing for Yahweh, our Elohim. We don't understand that it is a great honor to work for Yahweh, our Elohim. We're working for the creator of heaven and earth and all that in them is. And I don't think we consider that. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our Elohim which sits upon the throne and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne and about the elders and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces, and worshipped Elohim, saying, Amen, blessings and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our Elohim forever and ever. Amen. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they? And I said unto him, Sir, you knoweth.
Now, you have to, first of all, there are certain things that are said, and it is given for you to actually pick up some wisdom. All right? I want you to pay attention to what happens in verse 13. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes? Now, the elders are coming out of heaven. They asking him a question. How you gonna ask me? You know more than I do. It was a rhetorical question. Now, rather than beating on his chest and acting like he knew something, pay attention to how he answered. And I said unto him, Sir, you know. He didn't try to justify himself. Pay attention. He know the person who asking him this question know way more than him. He doesn't jump out there and stick his whole foot, toe, and heel all in his mouth. He not even getting into this. Sir, you know. Every time they ask, what do you see such and such? Sir, you know. What is it? You know what that is. You better learn. Let somebody glow and come to me. Esaac, what do you see? You know what you're looking at. What? Go ahead.
You know, even in that situation, even what you know, you might step out there and say something and miss the opportunity to learn on a higher level.
I don't want to cut myself off from something that he gonna give me over and beyond what I think I know. Cause I might know 2 centimeters, but he know 4 yards. I want to get all them 4 yards. What you see? What you think it is? What you see? What you saw? But tell me what you talking about. I need to get all that. See? But if I think I already know, I might tick him off. And he might decide, I ain't finna tell Esaac the rest of this. I'm gonna make him wait another 1,000 years before I tell him this. Go ahead, bro.
And he said to me, these are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore are they before the throne of Elohim, and serve him day and night in his temple.
Now, this is a part that a lot of Hebrews have a problem with, because therefore they are before the throne of Elohim and serve him day and night in his temple. They don't want anybody there but the ones they like, but the ones who agree with them, the ones who do the things the way that they do things. See, that's some of our biggest problem. We're so individualized. If somebody doesn't do something the way we do it, something must be wrong with them. But we're going to have to make space in Yahweh kingdom for some people who ain't just like you. Go ahead.
And he that sits on the throne shall dwell among them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them, and shall lead them on to living fountains of waters, and Elohim shall wipe away all tears from their eyes.
All right, living fountains of water. And Yahshua talked about the living water in his first visit. He talked about these living waters. Let's go to Numbers chapter 34. He said, I can offer you water that you thirst not. She said, give me this water. That water wasn't even coming anywhere near during that time. We just not hearing about the water now at the end of the book. Yahshua was already talking about the water. Numbers chapter 34. And let's read verses 13 through 15. Something we got to see here.
Verse 13. And Moshe commanded the children of Israel, saying, This is the land which you shall inherit by lot, which Yahweh commanded to give unto the 9 tribes and to the half tribe.
And to the half tribe. So there's a half tribe? Go ahead.
For the tribe of the children of Reuben, according to the house of their fathers, and the tribe of the children of Gad, according to the house of their fathers, have received their inheritance, and half the tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance.
So Manasseh then is a half tribe. Now, if you go back to Revelation, it gives you Joseph and Manasseh. But wait a minute. It says from the beginning Manasseh was a half tribe. So he didn't count as a whole. But when you deal with the things according to foundation, get ready for some things to come at you. Let's go to Genesis chapter 48. But these are things that we have to deal with. Because every time our people got ready to enter back into the land, they had to go back and forth over Yahweh's word to figure out how we need to set things up. Hey, we should be doing this. No, we should be doing that. And then they got to get together and work that out. As blessed as Dawid was, when he made the mistake concerning the ark, did we read anybody float down and told him what he did wrong? That's what we waiting for. See, we're waiting for somebody to float, come out, the clouds. We want them to have glowing countenance, feet that look like burnt brass, and we want it to sound like many thunders and rivers when they start talking. That way we know, oh yeah, this is definitely what I'm supposed to do right here.
Yeah, because the river spoke to me.
Not gonna happen. That's not what happened with Dawid. He had to sit down and figure out, how did I get this man killed? What instruction did I miss? And then once he figured it out, he had to turn around and do it again. With absolute fear that he might be making a mistake again. So he went all the way out. See? We ready for somebody to give us a clear-cut answer before we start walking. And that's why we always seeking some mess. Because we looking for a clear-cut answer from somebody. So we all over the place. We over here. We over there. We looking for a clear-cut answer. He didn't give Dawid no clear-cut answer. Here go my law. Figure out what you did wrong. Mm-hmm. When all them people died during the time of Joshua, he said, what you on your knees crying for? Get up. Don't you know that Israel done stole something? Why don't you know why the angel walked away? Go take care of that business. Get off your knees. That's what we want to do. Oh, Yahweh, please help me tie my shoes. Oh, Yahweh. Oh, please. Please. I don't know how to loop and swoop. For real? You think he can help you with that? You think he can help you with that? Like he ain't got nothing else to do but help you figure out how to tie your shoes. Genesis 48, let's start that at verse 1.
And it came to pass after these things that one told Joseph, behold, your father is sick. And he took with him his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And one told Jacob and said, behold, your son Joseph comes unto you. And Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. Jacob said unto Joseph, Elohim Almighty appeared unto me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me, and said unto me, behold, I will make you fruitful and multiply you, and I'll make of you a multitude of people, and will give this land to your seed after you for an everlasting possession. Mm-hmm. And now your 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto you in the land of Egypt before I came unto you into Egypt, are mine. As Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine.
Right. And what a lot of people want to do is say, well, you know, Ephraim and Manasseh or Ephraim got into a lot of sin, so Yahweh cut them off. Understand something. Reuben slept with his father's concubine. And the father still didn't cut him off. A lot of times I will hear people that, you know, they get angry. They'll say, well, no, hey, this word says such and such, and I need to do away with this or do away with that. All right. Just because you have the power to do something don't mean that that's what you're supposed to do. Sometimes you got to give it enough time to see if there's any repentance in any of the individuals involved. And if there's not any repentance in those individuals, then you do what is in your power to do. But you don't just do it just because it's in your power to do it. What if Yahweh did that to us? How many of us would be living? We done forgot all the various gods we don't worship. That's grounds for divorce. He said, look up on the hills and find the God that you ain't been laying with. So shouldn't I have given you a bill of divorce? I ain't do it though. Think about all the Christmas celebrations we took part in. We dressed up for that whorish activity. But we forget that when it's time for us to have forgiveness for other individuals. We're ready to deal with them at the strictest part of the law until it's our turn for judgment. That's why you have to give something time to see if it's any repentance. If it ain't, then you got to do what you got to do. But you got to give somebody as much time as you want Yahweh to give you. And when it goes down, can we say we did that? Go ahead.
Verse 6. And your issue, which you begetted after them, shall be yours, and shall be called after the name of their brethren in their inheritance. And as for me, when I came from Padan, Rachel died by me in the land of Canaan in the way, when yet there was but a little way to come on to Ephrathah.
Now, understand something. What he's saying is, I'm going to take your sons unto me, and they're going to then have the blessing of the children of Israel, like as they were my sons. Understand, now this is the son who was taken away, thought to be dead, okay? And now ended up being the one who preserved their life. So he said, no. I'm putting the blessing upon your sons. But I'm going to do it in the order that Yahweh shows me. Not in the order of tradition. So when we understand some of the things that are going on in Revelation and why you will see that Yosef has a double portion, then you get to understand why some of those things were done that way. Go ahead.
And I buried her there in the way of Ephrath, the same as Bethlehem. And Israel beheld Joseph's sons and said, Who are these? And Joseph said unto his father, They are my sons, whom Elohim has given me in this place. And he said, Bring them, I pray you, unto me, and I'll bless them. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see.
Right. So the blessing upon that Yahweh has put is felt, not seen. Remember that. Go ahead.
And he brought them near unto him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said unto Joseph, I had not thought to see your face, and lo, Elohim has showed me also your seed. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand toward Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near unto him. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hands wittingly, for Manasseh was the firstborn.
So he went opposite of the way it was orchestrated and given to him. Go ahead.
And he blessed Joseph and said, Elohim, before whom my fathers Abraham and Esaac did walk, and Elohim which fed me all my life long unto this day, the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named on them, and the name of my fathers Abraham and Esaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, it displeased him, and he held up his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head onto Manasseh's head.
Because he figured, my daddy can't see. He old. He clearly don't see which one of these boys is the oldest. See? So let me help him out because his eyes is dim. Go ahead.
And Joseph said unto his father, Not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put your right hand upon his head. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it.
Right. Go ahead.
He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great. But truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations.
So then when we talk about what has happened, if you don't put this into the scenario, by the time you read the things in Revelation, you really don't understand what's going on. Go ahead.
And he blessed them that day, saying, In you shall Israel be blessed, saying, Elohim make you as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And he said Ephraim before Manasseh.
All right. So now let's go into some of the things that are going to be there in this final setup of things. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 39. Ezekiel chapter 39. And let's start that at verse 25. We're going to go to Ezekiel 39 and verse 25 through chapter 40 and verse 4.
Therefore, thus says the Adonai Yah, now will I bring again the captivity of Yaakov.
Stop. You notice here it said, mention 12 tribes right there? Why? Because when he says the Father, all the sons are automatically implied. He don't have to then turn around and mention 12 sons because he mentioned the Father. Every one of the seed of Yaakov was blessed. Therefore, thus says Yahweh Elohim, now will I bring again the captivity of Yaakov. Now, if he's just going to save 11 of them, he got to turn around. He got to mention them. See? If he going to leave one of them out, he can't say Yaakov. Because that automatically implies all 12 of those sons. So if we understand that concept, when we read something in Revelation and we see the Father, it has absolutely no choice but to include the Son. That's how this thing is set up. But if we keep getting bits and parts of that Jewish thing and mix it in, because you know they Jewish through their mama, then this word starts not to make any sense. The whole lineage of this don't make no sense if I'm Jewish through my mother. Then at that point, when he says, I'm going to bring again the captivity of Yaakov, if you throw the mama in, now you got a problem. Now you got 4 mamas. Now you got, so which mama is he talking about? Because it took 4 mamas to make these 12 boys. So is he going to save some of the boys? Maybe a few of the boys? The boys he liked? Just the ones who was cool with Judah? What? Who he saving? He says Yaakov for a reason. It automatically implies every last one of the sons. Go ahead.
And have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name.
I'm sorry. What house?
The whole house of Israel.
The whole house of Israel. So if you didn't understand the part of Yaakov, if that was confusing, just keep reading. Whole house of Israel. He cannot just decide he's going to do away with one part of Israel. That's Lucifer's position. If he can cut off just one, he can turn Yahweh into a liar. We got to understand the push of Lucifer. Yahweh cannot be made into a lie. Go ahead.
After that, they have borne their shame and all their trespass where they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid.
So consider, we did all of these evils. We can't blame other entities really on the fall that our people have had. We had our own land. We had our own power structure. We had our own military, our own officers. And we dwelt safely in our land and still walked against his word. So it's all right. You don't like to walk in my law, in my land? I'm going to send you in somebody else's land. And let me show you how much you should have appreciated your own. So ain't that like a change of perspective? See, sometimes people have a job and they say, this job is horrible. I got to leave this job. And they leave that job, get another job. I wish I had my old job back. All right, you found some greater demons when you left. See, you found out that, there are some greater demons in other places. Right. You thought that grass was greener over there and found out that's astroturf. It's not even grass. I keep watering it and the water just rolls right off of it. Right, because that's not grass. But it sure looked green from the other side, now didn't it? Till you fall on it and then it burn off the whole half side of your face. And you find out that's not grass. Right. But now you done left your situation thinking for a better situation and only ran into a deeper and stronger demon than the one you were running from. Now what you gonna do? Time to learn how to deal with demons. See? Sometimes we think we run from a demon and we're going to get a better situation. And what Yahweh got you in is demon training. You keep thinking, I got to get away from these demons. And every time you go, here come the demon. Where we going? You're like, I'm out of here. I'm gone. And you go and the demon was like, man, I've been waiting on you. You must get caught in traffic. How did you get here before I got here? Oh, I've been assigned to you. Wherever you go, I go. Where we going next? You gonna get another job? I'm gonna get a job there too. Where you going? Wherever you going, I'm going. I'm your man, 50 grand. Wherever you go, I go. You don't get rid of that demon until you pass that demon course. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 27. When I brought them again from the people and gathered them out of their enemies' lands and am sanctified in them in the sight of many nations.
There are people that will jump in and out of relationship to relationship and keep having the same issues in every relationship and keep saying, something wrong with them people. So something wrong with everybody you run into. I'll be damned. Ain't that interesting? You think maybe he's trying to get you to do something with you? Just a thought. Go ahead, bro.
Then shall they know that I am Yahweh their Elohim, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen. But I have gathered them onto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, says the Adonai Yah.
I will not have left none of them any more there. So he meant it when he said Yaakov. It wasn't a typo, because then the next line he turns around and says all Israel. So he didn't make no mistake. Go ahead.
In the 25th year of our captivity, in the beginning of the year, in the 10th day of the month, in the 14th year after that the city was smitten, in the selfsame day the hand of Yahweh was upon me, and brought me thither. In the visions of Elohim brought he me into the land of Israel, and set me upon a very high mountain, by which was as the frame of a city on the south. And he brought me thither, and behold, there was a man whose appearance was like the appearance of brass, with a line of flax in his hand, and a measuring reed, and he stood in the gate.
That's what we want. We want a brass man to show up. Tell me which way to go, brass man. Hey, brass man, should I go to the left or to the right? Brass man, should I go to this church or that church? Hey, brass man, should I marry this woman or that woman? Hey, brass man, right. Keep on looking for the brass man. Read, man.
And the man said unto me, Son of man, behold with your eyes, and hear with your ears, and set your heart upon all that I shall show you, for to the intent that I might show them unto you are you brought hither. Declare all that you seeth to the house of Israel.
Right. Somebody gonna make $1 kajillion. They need to set up brassman.com, because that's what we be all over the internet for, looking for a brass man. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 47.
Ezekiel chapter 47 and verse 1. Afterward he brought me again unto the door of the house, and, behold, waters issued out from under the threshold of the house eastward, for the forefront of the house stood toward the east, and the waters came down from under from the right side of the house at the south side of the altar.
Now, if we go back, we remember Yahshua talking about, I can offer you living waters that you thirst not. This is why the woman at the well said, Sir, give me this water that I thirst not. This water is prophesied, but he couldn't offer that water at that time. The water that he was talking to her about was not available yet. He talking 2,000 years in the future, plus. It was not available. Go ahead.
Then brought he me out of the way of the gate northward, and led me about the way without unto the utter gate by the way that looks eastward. And, behold, there ran out waters on the right side. And when the man that had the line in his hand went forth eastward, he measured 1,000 cubits, and he brought me through the waters were to the ankles. Again he measured 8,000, and brought me through the waters were to the knees. Again he measured 8,000, and brought me through, the waters were to the loins. Afterward he measured 8,000, and it was a river that I could not pass over, for the waters were risen, waters to swim in, a river that could not be passed over. And he said unto me, Son of man, have you seen this? Then he brought me, and caused me to return to the brink of the river. Now when I had returned, behold, at the bank of the river were very many trees on the one side and on the other. Then said he unto me, These waters issue out toward the east country, and go down into the desert, and go into the sea, which being brought forth into the sea, the waters shall be healed.
Mm-hmm.
And it shall come to pass that everything that lives, which moves, whithersoever the rivers shall come, shall live. And there shall be a very great multitude of fish, because these waters shall come thither, where they shall be healed, and everything shall live whether the river comes.
Right. So, even the animals of the sea know, look, at this point, I need to swim to Israel. They got healing waters there. So we just need to swim by it. We just need to swim by it. Just get a little bit of that water. Hey, they swim upstream to go mate, right? Jumping all out the water. That's not this water is better than mating water. We got to get up here. But there's a time connected to that. Not just going just to be going. It's healing waters there. See, now our people go to Israel. We're going to take pictures. No, these animals know that they need healing because half the earth been eating everything in the water. So now there's something wrong in the waters because we eating everything out of it. All the stuff that's supposed to cleanse the water, it's on our dinner plate. And we still can't figure out why we sick. Go ahead.
Ezekiel chapter 47 and verse 10. And it shall come to pass that the fishers shall stand upon it from En-Gedi even unto En-Eglaim. They shall be a place to spread forth nets. Their fish shall be according to their kinds, as the fish of the great sea, exceeding many. But the miry places thereof and the marshes thereof shall not be healed, they shall be given to salt. And by the river upon the bank thereof, on this side and on that side, shall grow all trees for meat, whose leaf shall not fade, neither shall the fruit thereof be consumed. It shall bring forth new fruit according to his months, because their waters they issued out of the sanctuary, and the fruit thereof shall be for meat, and the leaf thereof for medicine.
And the leaf thereof for medicine. And if you deal with what herbs are, they are the things that grow out of the earth. But these people make medicine out of the damnedest things. And it's very difficult to research their medicine because they make up the words to define their medicine. So when you try to look up and research their medicine, it's going to get confusing. When you can make up an ailment and a word. Like, how you research a word that somebody else made up? It gets rather difficult. I always say, I got your medicine. Go ahead.
Thus says the Adonai, this shall be the border, whereby you shall inherit the land according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Yosef shall have 2 portions.
Stop. Yosef shall have 2 portions. Thus says Yahweh Elohim. Do understand in the whole beginning of this, I want to say it starts in 40. In Ezekiel 40, it says, in the 25th year of our captivity, in the beginning of the year, in the 10th day of the month, In the 14th year after the city was smitten, in the selfsame day, the hand of Yahweh was upon me, and he brought me thither. In the visions of Elohim brought he me into the land of Israel, and set me upon a very high mountain, by which was the frame of a city on the south. And he brought me thither, and behold, there was a man whose appearance was like the appearance of brass man. This is the beginning of brass man in chapter 40, Ezekiel 40. Then he starts going on vision of the future temple. He starts going into the description of the temple. All of this is following what happens in chapter 40 when the brass man show up. So by the time you're getting to 47 and 48, he is now giving us the setup of the land in righteousness. This is all coming from the brass man, all right? We just couldn't read all of that. We'd never leave.
Mhm.
But do understand how we got here. Go ahead.
Verse 14, and you shall inherit it, one as well as another, concerning the which I lifted up mine hand to give it unto your fathers. And this land shall fall unto you for inheritance. And this shall be the border of the land toward the north side from the great sea, the way of Hethlon, as men go to Zedad. Hamath, Beerotha, Sibraim, which is between the border of Damascus and the border of Hamath, Hazar Hatacon, which is by the coast of Haran. And the border from the sea shall be Hazar Enon, the border of Damascus, and the northward, and the border of Hamath. And this is the north side. And the east side you shall measure from Haran, and from Damascus, and from Gilead, and from the land of Israel by Jordan, from the border onto the east sea. And this is the east side.
Now, and if you take a look at this graphic, you start to see the divisions of the land and how they are being distributed among the various tribes of the children of Israel. Go ahead.
And the south seaside southward from Tamar, even to the waters of Strife in Kadesh, the river to the great sea. And this is the south side southward. The west side also shall be the great sea from the border, till a man come over against Hamath. This is the west side. So shall you divide this land unto you according to the tribes of Israel. And it shall come to pass that you shall divide it by lot for an inheritance unto you, and to the strangers that sojourn among you.
And unto the strangers that sojourn among you. Go ahead.
Which shall beget children among you, and they shall be unto you as born in the country among the children of Israel.
Right. So there's some people that's going to have to work out some things in their heart and mind. That have prejudice in their heart that the land of Israel will have absolutely nobody but Israel in it. They're going to have to figure out some things before they get there, or else they ain't going to make it in. So you can work it out now or let it work you out. Go ahead.
You know, when you read this whole thing, supposedly the Jews are back in the land, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is telling you that strangers that sojourn with you gonna have the children. We're gonna have children. He's point blank telling you that these people are gonna have children. What they doing over there? Trying to stop the people from having children.
Right. And those even the people that they let in. The other ones, they setting up rocks and pushing bulldozers to keep pushing them back, taking more and more of the so-called Palestinian land. While when they let the Ethiopians come in, they have to first pledge Judaism. Because they can't be black Jews. They got to pledge white Jew. And then once they pledge white Jew, then they turn around and give them a sterilization shot so that they will not produce children. The word just said they're supposed to produce children and have land among you. But you're going to try to sterilize the people so that they can't produce children? In what way is that righteous? But these are folks we all time talking about. Every time you go on the internet, some brother on there blowing a canoe. Why? Because the Jewish blow a canoe. They know what thus says the word. Half of them read the word and they turn around and learn Hebrew. Read the word in Hebrew, but still got a canoe. You mean tell me you read 2 languages, you can't find Ramlord? Read, man.
They shall have an inheritance with you among the tribes of Israel. And it shall come to pass that in what tribe the stranger sojourns, there shall you give him his inheritance, says the Adonai Yah.
Right. And it shall come to pass that in what tribe the stranger sojourns, there shall you give him his inheritance. So they're going to have inheritance with the children of Israel. But they're going to also understand not to boast themselves against the children of Israel. See? They're going to have to learn that part. 48 and verse 1. Keep going.
Now these are the names of the tribes from the north end to the coast of the way of Hethlon, as one goes to Hamath, Hazar Enon, the border of Damascus northward to the coast of Hamath, for these are his sides east and west, a portion for Dan.
So the very first one in the order of the land is the one that everybody keep talking about cut off.
Mm-hmm.
Yahweh is in the point making business. The very one they said, well, Dan, it's cut off. He the first one on top of the land. You coming from it, you can't even run. What does Dan mean? Do you remember? What's Daniel? I shall be judged of hell, right? So the land start with judgment. Go ahead.
And by the border of Dan, from the east side onto the west side, a portion for Asher.
Keep in mind what Samson was the judge of Israel. All right? This is the only one they want to attribute to being black because they can't figure out how they're going to make those white locks. You know what I'm saying? They done tried their best to make them white locks, but they just don't work out right. So that's the only one that they're going to let be black. So they need to take him out of the whole scenario. Here we go in the righteous setup. Not from me. This came from Brass Man. Brass Man said that he the one first in the setup. So you got a problem? Go get on your knees when you leave here. Go tell Yahweh you got a problem with Brass Man. Just don't mention my name and none of that, because I ain't got nothing to do with it. And if we don't see you the week following, we understand why. Go ahead, bro.
And by the border of Asher, from the east side even onto the west side, a portion for Naphtali. And by the border of Naphtali, from the east side onto the west side, a portion for Manasseh. And by the border of Manasseh, from the east side onto the west side, a portion for Ephraim.
Right, but people want to say that Ephraim is going to be cut off for all of the things that Ephraim has got off into within the sojourning of the children of Israel. Every last one of the tribes got off into something. Go ahead.
And by the border of Ephraim, from the east side even onto the west side, a portion for Reuben.
Right. And if we look at the situation with Reuben, he should have never even grew to a tribe. Unstable as water. This is what even the blessing said. He was within his blessing. It said he was crazy as kitty little. He said he unstable as water. Still didn't stop the blessing. Just as crazy as all get out. He's still blessing though. Right, like you ain't got no crazy family. And if you don't, you are the crazy family. Go ahead, bro.
And by the border of Reuben, from the east side onto the west side, a portion from Yehuda. And by the border of Yehuda, from the east side onto the west side, shall be the offering which you shall offer of 25,000 reeds in breadth, and in length as one of the other parts, from the east side onto the west side, and the sanctuary shall be in the midst of it. The oblation that you shall offer unto Yahweh shall be of 25,000 in length, and of 10,000 in breadth. And for them, even for the priests, shall be this holy oblation: toward the north 25,000 in length, and toward the west 10,000 in breadth, and toward the east 10,000 in breadth, and toward the south 25,000 in length. And the sanctuary of Yahweh shall be in the midst thereof. It shall be for the priests that are sanctified of the sons of Zadok, which have kept my charge, which went not astray when the children of Israel went astray, as the Levites went astray.
Right. So the Levites are all within the priesthood, but then you have another selection which is given by the manner in which they perform their service. So now the sons of Zadok have a different charge because they kept what was supposed to happen even when things went awry. See, it never does occur to us that we not only fighting for placement inside Yahweh's kingdom, we're fighting for an opportunity to get in the gate. But then you also deciding where you gonna go when you get in. See, that's something that we don't consider. And all they do is sit back and watch who's gonna do what. He don't need a bunch of do-nothing people surrounded by his temple. Because that's work that's got to be done. He's putting the people there that's going to do the work. The ones that's closest to him are the ones who are going to perform the service. That's why they live close to the temple. Because they always at the temple and always there whenever something needs to be done. You look at this breakdown and you look at where the Holy Land is, where this holy portion is going to be, rather. Imagine if a brother from Dan got to do work at the holy place. Right. But you know us, we'd be like, well, no, man, I'm gonna move out there because property value is real low. You know what I'm saying? Give me a mansion out there in the land of Dan. You know what I'm saying? All right, so when it's time to go to work, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen when it's time to go to work? What you gonna do? Oh, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Right. And I'm saying, they ain't got them swift beasts that we got in the parking lot. So y'all got some swift beasts out there. See? Some of y'all got 200 swift beasts inside one. It's 200 horsepower. All right? They had one donkey power. Okay? That ain't even a whole horse. All right? It's going to take a long time to get from Dan to the holy portion with a half horsepower. And then it's stubborn as hell. Donkey have a tendency to go where the hell they want to go. You know what? I just saw some water. Hey, look. Hey, bro. The Holy Land to the right, but that water to the left. You understand what I'm talking about? So now you got to add an extra slowdown in your travel with that half horsepower. Right. Go ahead.
You know, you flip that around the other way, that same man of Dan going to the temple to give oblations for sacrifices and sin offerings, but then ain't nobody there.
Yeah, that'd be a problem. That'd be a problem. Now, what he gonna say about his offer? I left it at the door. What? You left what? Yeah, that can be an issue, brother. Go ahead.
Verse 12. And this oblation of the land that is offered shall be unto them a thing most holy by the border of the Levites.
Hey, let me tell you something. Why you tripping? That happened to me when I first got in the Word. When I first got in the Word, somebody gave me one of them Ben-Ami books. And I had read the Ben-Ami book before he became the Messiah. He was still dealing with Yahshua as the Messiah at that time. So I went to a place at the West End. I went several times, and every time I went, nobody was there. Yahweh wouldn't let me go there. I didn't realize that was a blessing until later on. To then I met my elder, and then I was able to see the difference in the doctrine. And I was like, Oh. Now that would have been the beginning of my walk. So I would have been arguing about that stuff, thinking that it was right, because that's all I knew. Not knowing that Yahweh, I didn't know who Yahweh was, but he knew who I was. Every time I went close to their place, cut off the lights, here comes sun. He wouldn't let me go. Then the last time the lights was on everywhere, I was walking through the building. Nobody answered. I'm calling. I'm all in the back. I'm like, man, they gonna come out here and shoot me, man. I'm all in the back room. Wasn't nobody there, but lights was on everywhere. Yahweh wouldn't let me go there. Go ahead, bro.
And over against the border of the priests, the Levites shall have 25,000 in length and 10,000 in breadth. All the length shall be 25,000, and the breadth 10,000. And they shall not sell of it, neither exchange nor alienate the first fruits of the land, for it is holy unto Yahweh. And the 5,000 that are left in the breadth over against the 25,000 shall be a profane place for the city, for dwelling, and for suburbs, and the city shall be in the midst thereof. And these shall be the measures thereof: the north side 4,500, and the south side 4,500, and on the east side 4,500, and the west side 4,500. And the suburbs of the city shall be toward the north 250, and toward the south 250, and toward the east 250, and toward the west 250. And the residue in length over against the oblation of the holy portion shall be 10,000 eastward, and 10,000 westward, and it shall be over against the oblation of the holy portion. And the increase thereof shall be for food unto them that serve the city. And they that serve the city shall serve it out of all the tribes of Israel. All the oblations shall be 25,000 by 25,000. You shall offer the holy oblation foursquare, with the possession of the city. And the residue shall be for the prince on the one side and on the other side of the holy oblation.
Right, and then we have to understand who's the prince in their kingdom. Dawid. See, that's why in one part you're reading it says, Dawid shall be a king among them, and then 2 lines later, I think it may even be the next verse, where it says, then Dawid shall be a prince, because he's going to have to be under Yahshua. Prince ain't nothing but a king to be. The issue is, his first king ain't never going to die. You understand? So he ain't never going to be king again. You understand what I'm saying to you? He going to be in that prince spot for the rest of them days. So things have to be set up for the prince. Because Yahshua ain't leaving no more. Go ahead.
And of the possession of the city over against the 25,000 of the oblation toward the east border, and westward over against the 25,000 toward the west border, over against the portions for the prince. And it shall be the holy oblation, and the sanctuary of the house shall be in the midst thereof. Moreover, from the possession of the Levites, and from the possession of the city, being in the midst of that which is the prince's, between the border of Yehuda and the border of Benjamin, shall be for the prince.
So then you have the holy portion. Me and Leah was looking at this this morning, where you got Yehuda on one side, holy portion for the Levites, and then Benjamin on the other side. So the holy portion is sandwiched in between the warriors and the kings. Mm-hmm. You can't deal with better protection than that. You got royal and crazy on the other, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You feel pretty safe. You know what I'm talking about? I got royal on my right and crazy on my left. I'm straight, baby. You know what I'm talking about? Run up on that. Who gonna run up on that? Ain't nobody running up on that. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 23. As for the rest of the tribes, from the east side onto the west side, Benjamin shall have a portion.
And when people find out what tribe they're in, boy, when people be like, man, I'm Benjamin, I always knew I was crazy. I'm talking, I might be Benjamin. Go ahead, bro.
And by the border of Benjamin, from the east side onto the west side, Simeon shall have a portion. And by the border of Simeon, from the east side onto the west side, Issachar, a portion. And by the border of Issachar, from the east side onto the west side, Zebulun, a portion. And by the border of Zebulun, from the east side onto the west side, Gad, a portion. And by the border of Gad, at the south side southward, the border shall be even from Tamar onto the waters of strife in Kadesh, and to the river toward the great sea. This is the land which you shall divide by lot unto the tribes of Israel for inheritance. And these are their portions, says Yahweh Elohim.
Right. And if you look at this, even with Manasseh and Ephraim, you still count 12 because the Levite portion is within the holy portion. This was the part that I was explaining when we read the thing in Revelation. You still have that breakdown because the Levites are within this holy portion that they have to basically share with everybody who comes to do this service there. But they live there for a reason. They are constantly within circuit working. There always has to be somebody available. If we even go back to the days of the old Christian church, they had a little house on the property. The pastor used to live in that house. So that there was always somebody available when something was needed. You didn't have to go find him. He was there. When you read the things about what happened when Samuel was chosen, what do we find? Eli was right up in the mix of where the holy place was. They have to be near this place. So things are set up in a way for a reason. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 30. And these are the goings out of the city on the north side, 4,500 measures. And the gates of the city shall be after the names of the tribes of Israel. 3 gates northward, 1 gate of Reuben, 1 gate of Yehuda.
Now this is where things get interesting. So you got the land, but then you have the situation of the gates. Now listen to the things of the gates. All right, gate for Reuben, a gate for Yehuda, a gate for Levi. Go ahead.
And at the east side, 4,500 and 3 gates, and 1 gate for Yosef.
I'm sorry, how many gates for yourself?
1.
1 gate for yourself. Go ahead.
1 gate of Benjamin, 1 gate of Dan. And
Wait a minute. They ain't got a gate. They ain't got a gate. No, you don't.
Dan has a gate.
Dan has a gate. I'd be a monkey's uncle. Go ahead, bro. Keep going.
And at the south side, 4,500 measures, and 3 gates. 1 gate of Simeon, 1 gate of Issachar, 1 gate of Zebulun. At the west side, 4,500 with 3 gates. 1 gate of Gad, 1 gate of Asher, 1 gate of Naphtali.
Hold on, brother. Hold on. So when I read this here, you know what? I didn't see no gate for Manasseh and Ephraim. So what's happening here? Did he forget some gates? Did he forget some gates? What happened here? Joseph takes care of Ephraim and Manasseh. They don't need to have a gate because they daddy got a gate. And Dan ain't missing no gate. Folks are so ready to cut off Israel. And here's the thing. If Israel don't get saved, nobody gets saved. So folks need to really chill out with that cutting off Israel thing. They really need to back up off of it. Because ain't no future in it. Go ahead.
You know, even with the setting up of the gates, they still won't let Simeon and Levi be next to each other.
Yahweh got sense. Yahweh got sense. He know what they do. Look. And then he at least give Levi an opportunity to get that out of his system. Levi got to kill animals constantly. What? That's why they couldn't be together, because they had a problem with killing. They get angry and dead people just pop up. Hey man, it's a whole city of dead people. Do anybody know what happened? All right, sacrifice the animal. You like blood? Here you go. The rest of your days shall be dealt dealing in blood. Constantly. You know how much blood got to be in these offerings constantly? So, hey, Yahweh even makes your blessing match some of the things that were contained in your life. Go ahead.
And it was round about 18,000 measures. And the name of the city from that day shall be, Yahweh is there.
All right. Let's go to Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9, and let's read verses 1. Let's just start it at verse 1.
Okay. Romans chapter 9 and verse 1. I say the truth in the Mashiach, I lie not, my conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Spirit, that I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from the Mashiach for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh, who are Israelites.
So Saul says, according to the flesh, his brethren, his kinsmen, they are Israelites. So he is an Israelite. Without the apostle Saul, there is no so-called Christianity. Yet the first thing people are going to ask you is, what's a Hebrew Israelite? Well, what's a Christian? Sometimes we should answer a question with a question. When they ask you what's a Hebrew, your next question should be, what's a Christian? Because according to what I read, there ain't no Christian without their Hebrew. Go ahead.
To whom pertains the adoption and the glory and the covenants and the giving of the law and the service of Elohim and the promises.
And also what I read is they have all the authority. I don't read any authority for Christians. The authority was given to the Hebrew Israelite, who then presided over the so-called ones who were then called Christians. This ain't what they call themselves. That's what other people call them. Go ahead.
Whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, the Mashiach came.
As concerning the flesh, the Mashiach was a Hebrew Israelite too. Go ahead.
Who is over all, Elohim blessed forever. Amen.
See, that's one thing they will never associate. Whenever they want to say something about us, they say black Hebrew Israelite. They'll put in large letters the black part. It'll be big black small Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? It's black Hebrew. And like, what? What? Well, why don't they say the same thing about Yeshua? Why don't they say the same thing about Christ? Oh, no, they're scared to go there. They don't want to go there. No, keep going. Go ahead and call him. You won't call me, I'll take that. You won't call me a black Hebrew? Just make sure you call my big brother Yeshua a black Hebrew too. I'll be whatever he is. You won't call me a black Hebrew? Make sure you do the same thing to him. But they don't even want to call him a Hebrew. That's why they gave him that Greek name Jesus. They don't even want him to be Hebrew.
They said, no, he's not black or white. He's olive.
What the hell is olive? What the hell is olive? How many olive people you seen walking down the street? Hey, my olive brother.
It's black olive or green olive?
I don't know. Hey, there are black olives. You know, I just had one in my calzone the other day. So, hey, bro, I don't know what that is. But the nations will go all the way around to keep from dealing with who those people look like. And if you start mentioning it, now all of a sudden you have become racist. Yet the Jewish can claim racial things every day. Anti-Semitism. Every time somebody says something, anti-Semitism. But yet, if we even discuss what the Hebrews look like, now we're being racist. Interesting. But you can use a racial term every day of anti-Semitism. And nobody accuses them of playing the race card. Interesting how that works. Go ahead, bro.
Even with the word Israelites, I guess we held it so much and running with it now. I just happened to be messing around with Encyclopedia Britannica last night and typed in Israelite. You know, then the first thing came up, black Israelites. I'm like, you don't even have a definition before you say black Israelites. So just the word Israelites now has to have black in front of it.
You know who bought
Oh, yeah.
Encyclopedia Britannica, right? Right.
It was a Steen.
Right. Just take any name and put Steen behind it. Lowenstein, Browenstein, any kind of Steen. That's who ended up buying that. So they're going to give you a definition. That used to be back in the days. You can go in Encyclopedia Britannica and you can find the real deal. You can find information. But the powers that be realize, hey, we want to purchase all of the places where information come from. BET is just named BET. It's owned by Jewish people. It is no more black entertainment. BET is wet. It's white entertainment television. The white people own that. And then they telling us how to be black.
No, you are not black enough. No. No. Speak it deeper voice. Deep voice. Yes. Deeper. I don't even feel threatened by your blackness.
What? What? Right. Somebody else telling us. See? Interesting. Now we got all these black shows and black things, but those not put together by black people. That's somebody else telling you how to be black. And how many shows have you seen a Jewish person referred to in a negative light? And they run Hollywood. Tell me how many movies. You can count them on one hand. They're never represented in a bad light. But for us to even get an Oscar, have you looked at some of the absolutely degrading things that our people have to do to be awarded? You either got to be a stone cold flat-footed hoe or a stone cold psychotic killer. It's the only way you seem to get an Oscar in their arena. Yet other people can get Oscars for doing, respectable works of art. Take an inventory of how many black people got that. Think about Monique and what she did. Think about Halle Berry. Think about Denzel. Think about the things that they had to do. Absolutely foul. Denzel said Training Day was so bad, he had to not go home because he took that crazy dude back home with him. He was acting like that toward his kids. He said it messed up his mental. But this is what they said. You deserve to get an Oscar for that right there. Boy, you was a psychotic son of a gun. We love it. That's what they awarded. Matter of fact, on some of them, you don't get an award until after you do something crazy. They give you an award on the next one. Think about one of the rap artists, the group 666 Mafia, got their Oscar after making a song where they openly sing to Lucifer in the song. Lucifer, you my king till I die. This is what the hook say. They said, we gotta get him an award. They gotta get an award because they openly worship Lucifer. But we'll question each other before we question them. Right. Go ahead, bro.
Romans chapter 9 and verse 6. Not as though the word of Elohim has taken on effect, For they are not all Israel which are of Israel.
They are not all Israel, which are of Israel, but all Israel shall be saved. Check that out. So he got to weed through and figure out who really is Israel. So we got those who are around Israel. We got those who kick it with Israel. See? We got some, you know what I'm saying, some Shema singles. We got some people who like to dance and like to sing. But when it come down to instruction, oh no, I'm not going to do that. Right. Cut. So he can't just start and stop at the song. There's got to be something after the song. I ain't saying the song is a problem. What I'm saying is what happened after the song. If all we got is the song, we got a problem. Did you finish that?
Neither because they are the seed of Abraham are they all children, but in Esau shall your seed be called.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to chapter 11, Romans 11, and let's start that at verse 1.
I say then, has Elohim cast away his children?
Uh-huh.
Elohim forbid.
Right. Has Elohim cast away his people? Yet, why do we have people so quick to cut off Dan and Ephraim? He said, if you are able to count the sand and the stars, then will Israel be cut off. Why we got people so quick to cut off pieces of Israel? If Lucifer is even able to accomplish this, the whole world in trouble. And they don't even know it. This is your own salvation that you're losing here if Israel get cut off. Go ahead.
For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin.
Uh-huh.
Elohim has not cast away his people which he foreknew. Know you not what the scripture says of Elias? How he makes intercession to Elohim against Israel, saying, Adonai, they have killed your prophets.
He says to Elohim against Israel. So when he says Adonai, they have killed your prophets, who killed his prophets? Uh-huh. Same thing we do today.
Oh, I don't like what that brother said. Kill him online. He must die an online death.
Right. Read, man.
And dig down your altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what says the answer of Elohim unto him? I have reserved to myself 7,000 men, which have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal.
Right. So Yahweh is still doing the same thing, catching a remnant of those who are going to follow not what's popular unto man, but follow the narrow path that leads to salvation. Yeah, I reserved to myself 7,000 men. That ain't a whole lot of men. Go ahead.
Even so, then, at this present time also there is a remnant according to the election of grace.
Uh-huh.
And if by grace, then is it no more of works. Otherwise, grace is no more grace. But if it be of works, then is it no more grace. Otherwise, work is no more work.
So when it comes down to the sealing, then he's got to seal according to the promises that he left unto Abraham, Esaac, and Jacob. So that election of grace has nothing to then do with these works. They are going to be sealed according to the 12 tribes of Israel. When you get down to it, Israel is the only nation represented in heaven. And I don't think people consider what that means. Go ahead.
What then? Israel has not obtained that which he seeks for, but the election has obtained it, and the rest were blinded. According as it is written, Elohim has given them the spirit of slumber, eyes that they should not see, and ears that they should not hear, unto this day. And Dawid says, let their table be made a snare, and a trap, and a stumbling block, and a recompense unto them. Let their eyes be darkened, that they may not see, and bow down their back always.
Uh-huh.
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? Elohim forbid.
Uh-huh. Elohim forbid. I know that they have fallen. Go ahead.
But rather through their fall, salvation is come unto the Gentiles.
Right. Yeshua was offered up for the children of Israel, and then the children of Israel was offered up so that the rest of the world can receive salvation. But in that span, now the rest of the world has boasted themselves against the children of Israel. And they better step back. Go ahead.
For to provoke them to jealousy. Now if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them the riches of the Gentiles, how much more their fullness? For I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch as I am the apostle of the Gentiles, I magnify mine office.
I magnify my office. I speak to you Gentiles, inasmuch that I am the apostle of the Gentiles. Go ahead.
If by any means I may provoke to emulation them which are my flesh, and might save some of them.
So, holding back the children of Israel and allowing the Euro Gentiles to receive some things was supposed to provoke Israel to want to do higher and better offerings and walking toward Yahweh our Elohim. But in that, somehow the nations have boasted themselves, thinking that Israel is cut off and we're going to take their place. Flip through the televangelist channels and see how the people that they have taken out of Germany and put in as Israel, they call them Judah, and then they didn't call the people of Great Britain Beta Israel. Pay attention. Because they like, look, all right now, we told a lie for y'all. Y'all got to tell a lie for us. A lie for a lie. Well, that's in there somewhere. A lie for a lie. No, that's not in there at all. That's not. Go ahead.
Verse 15. For if the casting away of them be the reconciling of the world, what shall the receiving of them be? But life from the dead. For if the first fruit be holy, the lump is also holy. And if the root be holy, so are the branches. And if some of the branches be broken off, and you, being a wild olive tree, are grafted in among them, and with them partaketh of the root and fatness of the olive tree, boast not against the branches.
Right, and this is exactly what's happening. They want to boast against the branches. When you talk about the root, you start talking about Abraham, Esaac, and Jacob. Then you got the 12 tribes that come off of that. They are grafted into that tree, but you don't go and move a root. You can't go and move a branch out the way and boast yourself against the branch that you was grafted into. See, when you talk about, I've watched somebody do like planting and whatnot, and how they cut a special part of the tree and then cut it in a way that they then root it and make another plant out of the part that they cut off the one. You can't then think that you're better than the branch that you was cut off of. Oh no, you got a problem. Go ahead.
But if you boast, you beareth not the root, but the root you. You will say then, the branches were broken off, that I might be grafted in. Well, because of unbelief they were broken off, and you standeth by faith. Be not high-minded, but fair.
Right. Be not high-minded. You know, don't think that because the children of Israel are going through the things that we are going through now, that now the nations are going to get to rule over us forever. Oh, no. This thing got to come to an end. And Israel is going to be put in their rightful place. And the question is, how is the rest of the world going to accept that? Go ahead.
For if Elohim spared not the natural branches, take heed, lest he also spare not you.
Right. That's something that the nation should consider. If he cut off his own people, what you think he gonna do to you? Go ahead.
Behold therefore the goodness and severity of Elohim. On them which fell, severity, but toward you, goodness, if you continue in his goodness. Otherwise you also shall be cut off.
And that's the thing that you will not find dealt with on Sunday morning gatherings. Because according to them, there's nothing you can do to lose your salvation. You can be just as wicked as you want to be, but just claim Jesus right before you die. kill as many people, do as much foul dirt, but you just keep you a pocket Jesus right there. So that as soon as you get ready to die, you Jesus.
You're like, no, I'm good because I said 3 Jesuses right before I died. I put it out there in the atmosphere.
Right. That's where you're going to be, in the atmosphere. Go ahead, bro.
And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in. For Elohim is able to graft them in again.
Right. He's able to graft them in. It's day 3. But see, that's what happens when there's a span of something and somebody has received grace for a while. They then somehow think that it's something that they're due. And they deal with it like that, not understanding that it was grace. You ever let somebody borrow something? This not happened to me before. That you let somebody borrow something so long that in their heart it was theirs? You got to borrow your own stuff back. I even had somebody straight tell me, that's my stuff. Yeah, I know, but it's been over here for so long. Okay, so then we're not arguing then that it's not your stuff. You know that it's my stuff. But it's been over here. So now the argument was, you let me get used to it. Excuse me? At what point did me letting it be over there, allowing you to use it, how did I agree to let it be yours? When you let me get used to it. And that's really real in your mind. See, that's why I tell people, be careful about what things you allow to happen, because you don't consider. We are all creatures of habit, and you get used to something that is eventually going to be removed from you. And you are going to feel absolutely horrible because you allowed yourself to get accustomed to something in your heart, knowing that it had an end date. See, when we had a little small car accident, and them folks said, all right, we'll give you a rental car. Oh man, they gave us a fine piece of automobile. When I know that they tell you don't get to have this vehicle but 30 days. I had to start doing therapy around day 20 because I was letting everybody know we on our way back to the hood. All right? We finna get out of this fight. I mean, the vehicle had a screen in it about the size of this tablet. All right? I mean, they just look at they bagging up. They like, we ain't gotta look. They gotta look. They living. But we about to go back to reality in a minute. Because we got to take this back. You understand? So we don't need to be waiting until day 29. I was like, let's start working on the therapy now. All right, y'all know this car about to go back. All right, y'all know this car about to go back, right? Y'all do know that this car about to go back, right? Hey, man, that's a fine automobile. You can just let the wheel go and it keep going straight. Man, you go down the street. Yeah, hoopties don't do that. You let go of the wheel, somebody going to the hospital. You understand what I'm talking about? You got to keep your hand on that wheel, man. See, we have to consider that. When somebody get ready to give you something or let something come into your midst, you need to be thinking about, what is going to be my mind state the day that this leaves? See, can't nobody give me their fine automobile because I know, hey, man, I ain't going to want to drive my vehicle when I get ready to give it back. No. I can't let you give me something that now I look at my own stuff funny. Now me and Yahweh got a problem. Now I'm being disrespectful to him.
Now he gonna give me this whole little thing. I can't believe this. Why he ain't give me that one of them things Kish got? I can't.
Now me and Yahweh got a problem. Like, somebody go down there and slap something. Man, now I done got in trouble. Why? Because I'm in somebody else's stuff and now I done got used to it. Right. That's why I said, watch your landmark that you don't be off in your neighbor's stuff so much that now your neighbor starts to hate you. Now you all off in their stuff. Be careful what you let come into your midst. Go ahead, bro.
Romans chapter 11 and verse 24. For if you were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree.
And that's going to shock the world when Israel is grafted back into their own tree. Because they've gotten accustomed to having a place where they didn't have to regard Israel. Oh, that place is very quickly coming to an end. You shall not have that place without acknowledging Israel. Go ahead.
For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part has happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
And the fullness of the Gentiles is the time that they were given the rule here on this earth, and that time is coming to a close, and the blindness of Israel is gradually going away. Israel is searching more and more for the truth. They are coming out of the darkness. Why? Because those curses are coming to an end. We think that we just decided one day that we should know the truth. We think that we made the decision. You know, I think I should know something deeper about God. You thought you made the decision. You don't know that it was an angel was saying, him. You thought you decided it. Go ahead.
And so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written.
All Israel shall be saved, but we just read, they are not all Israel which are of Israel, but all Israel going to be saved. Somebody need to remind the Gentiles of that. Yahweh is going to be the one that's going to purge out and decide who of Israel is really Israel. But when after he decides that, all Israel going to be saved. Go ahead.
There shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
I'm sorry, he going to turn away ungodliness from who?
Jacob.
Not Dan. So when he said Yaakov, was he talking like Yaakov as a whole? What did he say? Read it again.
There shall come out of Zion the deliverer.
All right, out of Zion gonna come a deliverer, right?
And shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
He's gonna turn away ungodliness from Yaakov. So then he's dealing with Israel as a whole then. He's dealing with all Israel. He ain't saying he's going to turn away ungodliness from a few tribes. Go ahead.
For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins.
So, and the covenant is made with Israel. Ain't no covenants made with nobody else. See, this is the part that people don't understand. If you don't go with Israel, you don't go in. Ain't no Gentile gate. You can't keep Israel from having a gate and then you still go in. He's turning away ungodliness from Jacob, for this is the covenant unto them when I shall take away their sins. When we talk about this new covenant is made with Israel. And people quick to say, especially those who worship on Sunday morning, that they are part of the new covenant. New covenant is made with Israel. It's written in the Old Testament and the New Testament. That's who he made that covenant with. The people in the covenant are the ones who got the gate. You got to go with somebody who got a gate. You don't get to boast yourself against the branches and still walk in the city. It ain't set up like that. Go ahead.
As concerning the gospel, they are enemies for your sakes. But as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake.
As touching the election, they have already been chosen way before. Yeah, they got situations that I'm dealing with them with, but I ain't going to take my glory away from them. It ain't nothing nobody could do to make Yahweh take his glory away from Israel. They mistake the punishment of Israel as us being cut off. No, Yahweh punishes his children way more than he punishes other people's children. He let Lucifer punish his own kids. And this is what throws us off. We watch other people do evil and don't let it happen to them. Matter of fact, good things be happening. And they just be doing just some of the most low down trifling stuff. And we like, oh, I want to be trifling too. So then we try. And we don't even finish. And the police just be sitting there reading us, all right, you got the right to remain silent. I didn't even finish. Officer, you could at least let me finish. Because as soon as you started, Yahweh called me and said, you go down there and get my servant. Go down there and get him now. I didn't even finish. Right. He was going to let you finish. Because there's more that you got to go into judgment for. We don't see that as a blessing. Go ahead.
For the gifts and calling of Elohim are without repentance. For as you in times past have not believed Elohim, yet have now obtained mercy through their unbelief, even so have these also now not believed, that through your mercy they also may obtain mercy. For Elohim has concluded them all in unbelief, that he might have mercy upon all. Oh, the depth of the riches both of the wisdom and knowledge of Elohim. How unsearchable are his judgments, and his ways past finding out.
This is what our problem is. We're going to try to figure Yahweh out. We think we know his law like he know his law. This is what got Israel into trouble to begin with.
Is not this city the cauldron and we be the flesh? He has made the covenants with Israel, so he can't cut us off. So look, we ain't got to follow all the laws. Because he can't cut us off. We read in the back of the book, we in there, right? All right, we good. Then Yahweh took care of that business. Then we find out, oh, you mean he can kill off the fathers and marry the sons? Well, I didn't read that part. Yeah, I know, right? Stop thinking you know his law like he know his law. That's where we make the biggest mistake. We think we understand his judgment the way he understands his judgment. How about we just understand thou shalt not? Deal with that part. Stop trying to deal with what he gonna do. Go ahead.
For who has known the mind of the Adonai?
All right. Who has known the mind of the Adonai? We think we do. We're going to do his judgment for him. Go ahead.
Or who has been his counselor? Or who has first given to him, and it shall be recompensed unto him again?
Right. When you deal with the judgment of Yahweh, you got to sit back and wait. If you sit back and watch the judgment of Yahweh, you'll watch the very people that come against you in one thing. You'll watch Yahweh's judgment deal with them in the very thing that they come against you for. You watch people come against your marriage, give it a year, and they marriage over. He giving them the judgment in the way that they came at you. They try to steal your belonging, you give it a year and a half, that thing is gone from them. And you ain't touched nothing. You ain't had nothing to do with it. Watch Yahweh's judgment. And if you watch enough of the judgment, you'll know to leave folk alone. Least he'll turn around and come and show up at your door. The judgment out here, he ain't here. No, I said, I'm coming in there. That ain't what you want. But you got to watch enough of that to know that it'll show up at your door just like it went to somebody else's door. And when you know that, you learn to leave some stuff alone. Go ahead.
For of him, and through him, and to him are all things, to whom be glory forever. Amen.
All right. That is all that we're going to do for today. Before we leave, I know that we have a situation. We have so many online members that what ends up happening is a lot of times we read things after that we are done that they do not get to hear. So, brother, let's read those things there.
In addition to our Sabbath class, we have sisters class every first and third Sunday, beginning promptly at 11 a.m. All sisters are welcome to come. Bible study is held every fourth day, Wednesday, beginning at 8 p.m. in the dining hall. This is the perfect time for any questions that you may have to be answered. All brothers and sisters are welcome to join us. The UCI has a dress code whenever you are in attendance at this facility. This dress code will be strictly enforced at all times. All females must wear skirts or dresses that reach below their knees. Your shirt must cover your cleavage. Sisters must have a full head covering at all times to cover all your hair, and no makeup should be worn on the Sabbath. All brothers must wear shirts to cover their loins. No shorts are allowed. Young brothers must wear your pants on your waist. No undergarments should be seen. If you have questions concerning the dress code, please see one of the deacons.
All right. That is all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.